Hey guys, my name is Karen and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'd like to review two projects that I have completed, projects I promised that I was working on. I have completed them, as well as review the patterns I use. I'm also in the midst of working on completing. I've started mainly just cutting two of the patterns that I promised. So going slowly, but things are progressing nicely. So for today, I'd like to start off with my tried and true. This is the pink shirt I started working on. It's 1538, Simplicity 1538. So this was the pink shirt. Looks kind of red and white at times. Simplicity 1538 when I was working on. Okay. So in my last video, I basically showed you how I added the arm's eye, which is the inside right here. For this one, I shortened it, I think 2 inches. I also shortened the length of the sleeve by about an inch or so, making the length of my arm 22. And then I think for this one, I cut it on the bias for this one, on the inside. So this is just normal. I tried pockets. I think for the second time, I really make shirts and make the pockets on. So I was looking at 2 options, and I'll insert a little clip of what it was.
So I finished the shirt, almost the finishing line, and I realized that a pocket might be fun. So I've cut two designs. I've cut one, this one you're looking at, on the bias. And here is the other. I'm thinking the shirt is too blah, even though it has contrasting cuffs and a contrasting placket. Placket was cut on the bias. I'm thinking, do I match the cuffs with the pocket, or do I match the placket with the pocket? So I'm gonna put the one on the bias on the other side and just do a side by side and see which one looks better. So here we have them both. And it looks like we're gonna go with the one with the bias that matches right there.
Stripes going down vertically. I wanted something to kind of break up, something that breaks up the pattern, makes it easy on the eyes. So I looked at both options, and this one was what was selected. And so I have a clip of myself adding this on. I'll insert that. So I've shown you how I have applied the cuff to the shirt sleeve. I've shown you how I've done the French seam arm's eye. I've shown you how to apply, how I apply the collar to the collar stand of a shirt. I've shown you the placket. So might as well take you on a ride to show you how I do the pockets, which I rarely do pockets. So it's as simple as deciding which way the pocket design is going to go. I just showed you 2 options. I was thinking of going horizontal with the stripes because the shirt has the stripes going vertical, and I didn't want to do the same thing. I wanted to break it up and show a little contrast, making it easier on the eyes. So I've looked at it and was undecided. The one that's cut on the bias, and that's the one I'm doing right now. So I've lined it up, pressed it, marked it, comparing with the other side that I've done, and I'm just gonna sew it. Hope to God I don't mess this one up, but hey, I've gone far enough. So I'm just gonna take my time, go all the way down, and then slightly, when I get to the corners, there is a piece of thread that is in my way and blocking my view, and I'm trying not to stitch on it. There we go. Okay, and again, my guide with this is staying as close to the edge of the pockets as possible as I sew. That's the only guide I have apart from pinning them in place and hoping they didn't shift. Turn it. Question the decision. Probably make another stitch out because to me this is coming in too close, so I'm gonna kind of switch it back a bit. One stitch, which takes me to the end of it, real close to the end. So I've come this far, and if it's gonna mess things up, I'd rather just take the pockets off. But so I think that's it. I'll take this straight thread off, take my pins out, give it a good press, and I think we have another pocket right there. Looks pretty good. So you can take a look. But overall, I think it was a palette cleanser. Shirt is what does it for me. I think it turned out great. I like it, and it's just the same old. Cut this on the bias. I showed it in the last video I was making it. And I did insert the pocket so you can see. So for shirts, I think I've completed everything that I think I needed to show you or you asked for. After the last video, which was the arm's eye, in that video, I showed you how I did the cuff. I show you how I inserted the sleeve, and I also show you how I think someone asked me in the last video to show how I apply the collar. So I'm gonna add that clip in this video, and so you can take a look and see. Again, it's not the right way, it's not the best way, it's just the way how I do it. So a few of you asked to see how I attach the collar from my last video with regards to the arm side on the shirt. I promised I would record a clip of when I'm adding the collar. I practically started and then I forgot, and then when I started, after putting this on, I realized that I was supposed to, so I kind of stopped just recording this piece. So I've added the collar stand to the shirt right there. So right now what I'm going to be doing is adding the collar. I've made the collar, I've interfaced, pressed. So what I'm going to do right now is attach the collar to the collar stand, and then I'm going to be adding this piece on top of it. So first I try to find my notches. That's one. And there's the other. So now that it's lined up, finding both notches, I just do a double check to make sure the edges are about the same size of what's left, the excess right there. And then I just start pinning this piece over. So I turn it this way. And of course, before I did anything, I ironed, I pressed up the piece right here, just on the edge. And I line it up carefully right about there, making sure the edges are together when I do this. And then I'm gonna pin this in place all the way around, pinning through all the thickness. So again, right now, all I'm doing is pinning the collar and the facing to the collar stand. I'm gonna do this until I get to the other side. And when I'm doing this, I'm kind of just cautious, making sure that I'm not stretching this piece right here that I'm putting over the top. I'm going as much as I can to line up everything as close as I possibly can. All right, so I'll pin this, and once I've pinned and everything seems all lined up, I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and then I can begin sewing. So this is what it looks like. Under here is the collar stand. Here is the collar that I attached, and here is the facing that's on it. So I've pinned through all thicknesses, and then all I'm gonna do right now is start sewing from here all the way around, come back around, make my trim, and then I'm gonna press. Something looks like out of place right here. Let me fix this. Puckering was happening at the end, so I kind of fixed that. Again, I'm gonna stitch here all the way around, and then when I am finished, I'll come back, trim, and show you what it looks like. So I think I'm ready to go right now. All I'm doing is stitching all the way around. And like I did in the previous video, I go slowly up. So this is what the edge kind of looks like. I got here, and when I got there, I kind of rolled up some more. So this is what the collar looks like. This piece is on, collar ends up under here, and this piece is under here. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna trim, and then I will press. I'm gonna use my pinking shears to trim, so I get a little notches in here. I'll show you what I mean. Here I have grabbed my pinking shears, and I use it to go around the edges, like right here in the corners. And I go slowly, trying not to make a mess, but again, I just did. Like that in the corner of my shirt. I'm also cautious about cutting this end off, because often when I do, I have pieces poking out. So today I'll hold off on that, but I'll cut around the excess. It's a bit harder on this side because this is where the collar actually meets the fabric. Need some of it because I also open it up on the ironing board, open the seam and press the seam wide open, so when I fold it over and put the clapper on it, it stays in place. This is what it looks like. I turn it over. I'm going to open up these seams on the ironing board. So this is what it looks like, my collar halfway attached. Now I'm going to press this down in place so that when I'm stitching, I'm not fighting with the fabric to keep that down. It all will fall into place. So I'm going to press, and I'll be back. But the collar is basically finished on, just this piece under here to stitch in the ditch. I'll be back. So I've done a little pressing on the collar and the collar stand. Brought everything down, and my clapper hold in place here as well. So when I lift, that's what under the collar looks like. And then to make sure I'm not really off, my dots are there as markers to make sure everything was in line, or still is. Not sure if you can see it, but I have a blue dot right here and another one right here, and that's where the shoulder is. So when I'm stitching, I make sure these are kind of in line right by the shoulder, so I'm not far off and I don't have a lot of fabric going one direction opposed to the other. So now that I have it pressed in place, I'm just going to go ahead and try to stitch. Now that's the piece I told you that keeps hanging out, so I didn't want to cut too much off of it. And when I'm sewing, I try to bring this down as close as possible so it seals this corner shut when I'm stitching across there. Now, let's see if I can work some magic today. So here is that blue dot. It ends up right by the shoulder. Here's where the shoulder meets, and I have it just about there. So this is what the collar and the collar stand look like. I have this bulk of thread right here, but I'm going to show you at the end. I took it as far as I could. That's one edge right there. All the way down as best as I could. This is that blue dot lined up on the collar. There's the other one, not sure you can see it. And I get to the end, and this is where I had cut the other little piece off. So I think it turned out fine. Shirt is now finished.
So that's the collar. It's now attached to the shirt. As I said, I needed to add buttons on to the sleeves and the front, but I want to give you a spin. That's my collar. She's attached, just ready to be popped. So again, I've rolled the collar over just to see what it looks like. There it is. It's a finished shirt. I need to make buttonholes. Yeah, but that's about it. Shirt's done. I need to give it a final pressing. But yeah, that's how I make my shirts. She's all done. Hope this was helpful for you guys who ask. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Overall, it's a nice make. I keep using the same pattern, just making little tweaks and as I go along, and I just love it. You basically can't tell because, at least for me, it changes the feature as you go along, and that's how I've been learning, using that pattern. And so basically almost all shirts are the same, apart from the little intricate designs that you may add as you go along. But that's it for this shirt. The other one that I have is Simplicity 8830. So for this one, I did things a bit different. So the collar stand for this one, I changed it up and I used collar stand for another one. Reason for that is I made this shirt a bit bigger than the pattern would normally call for in terms of sizes. I kind of slid it and extended it so I have a wider shirt. It's back there on the dress form, and I'll take it down and show you. I didn't add the pockets. I added 3 inches to the front, and the reason for that is it has a high-low thing on design, which it drives me kind of weird. So yeah, I basically just cut this as a big shirt. The collar that I wanted, I used a collar from, I think it was 1538 or another shirt collar. So I used the collar stand from something else too, because I extended it. The collar stand had to be a bit longer for what I did, and because I changed the collar that came, the collar stand, naturally I'd have to change the collar. So I used the collar from a different pattern, lengthened the collar stand, and then just created it as I wanted it. So on the insides again, I used 2 yokes, one on the inside, one on the outside. Call to one, I just do 2. Cleaner finish, tried and true, French on the insides, all the way down. So the only thing I have left is to apply the buttons and the buttonholes, and that's always delayed for me because I hate buttons, hate putting them on. So yes, this is what it was. And then for the sleeve, there was a mishap, so I don't think you can tell, but I'll show you anyway. So normally I just cut and cut the thing on the bias and just apply it to my sleeve. But when I cut, I think I cut this one too far up. So instead of thinking of cut another fabric, I just cut another length, about 4 or 5 inches of fabric, opened it up, and just create a little thing that you would when you're making the lapel pockets. Yeah, I made one of that like right here, slit it, sew it from the underside. I'm talking and it's not making sense to you, so let me show you. It from the underside, which gave me a clean finish on this side. The vent, I'll get it together. So it also gave me a nicer finish on the end. And this was all because I made an error, but I discovered something else that I like. And when I open it there, I get a little under piece. That's all coincidental right there that came out because of how I tried to fix the error I made. So all I need to do right now is apply my buttons on this and I'm good to go. So I did the same for the other side. It was an error for the first one. The second one I decided to make the same thing, but the second one wouldn't be an error, right? It's intentional from the first error. And so I now have a big shirt that I absolutely love. And then the pleats at the back, like right there. Yeah. But I absolutely love this shirt. I think I've made it once before, and the last time I made it, I didn't make any adjustments. No, I've made it twice. The last time I made it, I didn't make any adjustments. The first time I tried extending it and ended up with it a bit longer than normal. But this one I think is my best make because I also did try to do a little puff sleeve action. So I cut more of the fabric in the sleeve length and more in terms of the width to give me that little puff effect on there. So yes, this is something I absolutely love. But again, I didn't go follow the pattern. I just did it as I saw fit and changed a few things. So changing the collar stand, I added a collar. I extended the front by 3 inches. Didn't make any changes to the back because the back, I extended the front to allow the front to not really mirror the back, but give me some more similarity in the back. So I had more length in the front, but not as long as the back. And that was what I was going for. My trouble spot was getting, as I explained before, getting this piece right here together because I always had this huge curve. And so I think because I lengthened this a bit, I don't have that deep of a curve, and I didn't have a problem sewing under here. So yeah, I absolutely love this one, and I'll be making it again, probably in a plain, all accidental because I was trying to fix the error I made in terms of the cut. Yeah, so it came out okay. Again, it's something I will be making going forward with the same adjustments. I made sure to mark on the package, the pattern. So what I'll do is I'll buy another pattern, cut it the way the pattern is supposed to be, and I'll have this as an adjustment because I like it this way. If I have to make it the right way as Mimi designed it, I'll have another for that. Again, it's $1.99, so I find it better for me to buy another one, make the adjustments. 2 shirts for this week. The pink one, which I explained to you that I made the adjustments with the pockets. I shortened the length of the shirt. I also shortened the length of the sleeve. I adjusted the slants on the pockets. And so I think I'm done. I showed you everything on that shirt, resting that for right now. I have 3 or so. I'm working on this one right now, as I explained last week. This is the fabric, but I'm doing several changes. Instead of making a collar, which I love collar so much, I'm gonna make a tie for the neck. Instead of putting on this last piece, there's a second piece at the end of it. I'm gonna eliminate that and just put the flounce. Yeah, pockets and everything. I'm gonna try that with this one. So this is what I'm working with right now. And next up is gonna be this one right here, using this fabric. So there are 2 things I'm working on, that shirt and this one. So my next video, I'll have those 2, should have those 2 prepared. I also have 3 more backed up there, but I'm working on that. I'm also making a few adjustments to my sewing room. I recently added some pieces, added some things that are really essential for me in terms of improving my sewing and making my space more comfortable. So I'll be showing you that shortly. As soon as I get everything together, get everything sorted out, I will have that uploaded to show the changes I've made in my sewing space, make it more comfy for me. If you've enjoyed this video, I thank you very much for sticking around. I appreciate your time and have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye.